What's up, guys? Adam Patterson here for another weekly recap of building Patterson Logistics. And it's, I guess, a month in review now because today is the 31st, making it the last day of this month of July, or last day and last business day being a Friday. And we had a pretty strong month. So I just want to get into it. From last week to this week, I've gotten mainly all of those outstanding invoices paid. It took a lot of follow up and follow through with some accounting teams from my customers, but we finally got the complete list of invoices over to them to be paid. All but one is paid. So if you weren't here for last week, I have my seven largest customers, all who were behind on paying their invoices. So with that, I did not run freight with six of my six largest customers, for 2 weeks straight in this month. And the seventh, I did not run freight with for 1 week straight in this month. So it changed the game around a little bit. Those are my most active customers. So most active is highest volume, meaning I move the most amount of freight with them, meaning that most likely I make the most amount of money with them, which I also do. And with that, my business kind of took a hit down this month, it was going to be a very strong record breaker month from the way that it started out in the first week. And then I didn't run freight for a total of 3 weeks if you really look at it. And with that, I still ended up slightly above average for the month, thanks to my other customers who I could continuously run with. But had my strongest customers been on board alongside the new customers that I brought on this month, I would have had a massive record-breaking month, and it would have been pretty cool. But so I went 2 weeks without running freight with my six largest customers. I went 1 week without running freight with my seventh largest. Still did slightly better than average, but it could have been a really big month. So I look forward to that coming for next month, now that we've gotten five of my largest customers to pay and that seventh largest customer to pay as well. So headed into next week, we're in a good spot. We've already got a lot of freight on the board. We've got contract freight, of course. And then we've got our spot freight, which we've already won, been tendered, and built up. And it looks like I am about to gain another customer. So that's pretty exciting. That actually just came through. That's pretty awesome. I've been working on that customer for some time. Um, to go over what I've been doing though in the slower times, it's been a sales focused sprint. And I say that because when your operations get heavy, you have less time to do sales. When your operations are heavy, you spend most of your time servicing your current business, growing your current relationships, making everything work out as smooth as it possibly could so that you can kind of open new doors, grow deeper with your current business because you can still grow as long as the customers have that ability. Um, a lot of this week has been time management. So what I have been doing is I've been cold calling and cold starting on 10 new prospects every single day for the past 2 weeks. So if you do that math out, it's 100 new prospects over the course of the last 2 weeks. It's kind of hit or miss. Some days do better, some days do worse. When I was first starting out, I was still working on enterprise size accounts, so the hit ratio is less because you have to work through pyramids and layers of, I'm not even sure what you want to call it, but employees basically to get to the decision makers, to get the information that you need that you're going to want to utilize with the decision maker. And it takes more time. And that's always good. You still want to work on enterprise size accounts. You always want to follow up and follow through with them. You always want some enterprise accounts, life changing accounts inside of your pipeline or being started on within your pipeline. My issue was that was my entire pipeline. And with it takes a lot of time to land them. They always have their own time frames that they work on: year, 2 years, 3 years, sometimes 6 months if they do micro bids. But I have enough of them in my pipeline where when they come down the line, that's great. But if they don't, I want to still be working on small and mid-sized accounts that I can just be bringing on throughout the year to still pad my new account numbers, my growth, and I don't have to be so reliant on one major account coming in or two major accounts closing for the year. I can still get those 1 to 2 major accounts and then add in another 10 to 15 smaller accounts. And that's how I started the business. That's how I've always started my books. I've always aimed at smaller accounts first, built myself a nice base layer. So I had some recurring revenue coming in, and then I would work on enterprise accounts. And then as the enterprise accounts came in, you can kind of kick out some of those smaller accounts that perhaps they didn't run as much business with you. They weren't too great on margin. Their freight was a little bit more difficult. It took more time, and it just wasn't worth the time to payoff ratio of what you make in terms of profit on it. Now, as time goes on, you don't want to give up customers per se. You can absolutely move away from them. You don't want to give up the relationship. You just want to be honest with them. Hey, my timing has changed. My business has changed. I have some customers that, are more demanding in terms of the volume that they send me. And the return is just more there for me with them currently than it is with you guys. I appreciate your business. I appreciate your relationship. I don't want to lose you guys in the long haul, but I'm probably not your best service provider at this current moment. When I bring on some additional help, I can be more hands-on with you guys. I can put more time, attention, and focus into this. And that's been kind of the messaging to some of those older clients of mine who didn't have the most volume, and they were more price sensitive, and they just kind of wanted to shop out for lowest rates so that they can make their most margin, which makes sense. Business is business. The purpose of a business is to make a profit. The purpose of my business is also to make a profit. There are things that I need to do to be able to service my customers better. The more profits that we make, the more I can put into new technologies, the more employees I can hire, and the more that my business can improve to help my customers scale as well. So it's more of an aggregation than it is of just a profit extractor, if you want to call it that. So if I had no operations, I would be doing more sales calls. If I had more operations, I would be doing less sales calls, which is going to be how things end up next week. I think 10 is quite possibly the perfect number for me. That way I have enough time to run my current business. I have enough time to peer into my current operations, keep my current relationships going strong, and start new relationships at the growth rate that I'm looking to get, which is probably the most important part. So, in a recap of the week, I got most of the billables paid other than one client. Very strong sales week with a lot of new opportunities coming into the pipeline. That's a great week. We're back on track for next week to have a potential record-breaking month now in August, because we did not have it in July thanks to these billables. But now that these have all been paid, next month is set to be huge. We'll see how this opening week goes. It's usually the first week and the last week of the month are slower weeks, and then the two mid-sized meat weeks are really the meat of the month, and we'll see how it goes. But stay tuned, guys. I appreciate you following along. If you enjoy these, as always, leave a comment, like, subscribe, follow along, and we'll keep them coming. Take care, guys.